James Conner, and this is a guy that I think everybody's pulling for. Everything he's been through to get to this point today, he is an exceptional young man, but he is a heck of a football player, and he's a pounder. I talked to Randy Fichtner yesterday. He said he's worked on his hands because of this day today, maybe replacing Le'Veon Bell.
All right, well, you know the Cleveland Browns story. Winless last year, just one victory the season before. Part of the solution they feel here in Cleveland, Trent, bring in Tyrod Taylor.
Well, even though Nate's voice just cracked back in the studio talking about the Cleveland Browns, this guy right here, Tyrod Taylor, it's not going to crack. He doesn't turn the ball over. The Browns have had a problem with turnovers. He mentioned the fact 28 interceptions a year ago. Tyrod Taylor doesn't turn the football over, but he has a weapon coming out of the backfield that's a matchup problem against these Steelers.
Yeah, I think he's the biggest mismatch in the game, and that's Duke Johnson. This guy can play wide receiver for you. Reminds me a lot of David Johnson, but he's a heck of a runner in the 3 wide receiver set, and then he's a total mismatch versus safeties and linebackers.
Well, we told you the weather was threatening today. How threatening? Downstairs to our Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, initially 5 to 7 inches of rain were in the forecast for this afternoon. Now the National Weather Service is predicting just over an inch of rain between the hours of 1 to 4. The field conditions, though, are great. The tarp had been on since 2 p.m. yesterday and removed after 11 a.m. today. We'll get you back to the NFL today right after this.
Final play, under pressure, always! Oh, he got him!
Sammy Wing. When you first posted videos, it was like, okay,
yeah,
you can see he's still filling it out. The last videos you posted, it's like, he's back.
Yeah.
So do you feel 100% right now?
Yeah. Every time you ask that question, what percentage you feel, I feel this and I feel that. I feel as good as I felt in this whole recovery process, if that makes sense.
But it's been 336 days. You know what that number represents? Last time you caught a ball in the game.
336.
So you gotta be itching for something.
It's not even like I literally have not stopped thinking about it. It's on my mind, and it's not like a nervous thing. It's like I'm really like hungry and anxious and ready.
First game against Jacksonville Jaguars, arguably the best cornerback in the game, and Jalen Ramsey. Dude's talking.
Yeah.
He's already talking about it.
That's him, though. You know, he talks the talk and he walks the walk. But we're both competitors, but he's got everything. He's got it all. Jacksonville's got the best defense.
You think he can get under your skin? We've seen him do it to guys in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a different place. The only thing I worry about is that first moment of stepping on the field. Like, it's really been a long time. Like, I don't know where my emotions are going to be.
Everybody's excited. I mean, this is the number one thing I'm going to be watching on Sunday. Odell, always good, man. Proud of you. Congrats.
Thanks.
Can I get a loan?
Well, that laugh meant I didn't get a loan. He didn't give me any money. But, you know, the maturity...
You don't need a loan, Mike.
The maturity...
Odell.
You don't need a loan,
I
Mike. Tag the piece, please. It's mine right now. The maturity for Odell... it doesn't mean he's going to have less passion on the field. You're going to get that same player with the same desire, the same fire to go out there and be the best. He never will lose that, but I think his leadership role and his understanding of his leadership and what he needs to be has completely changed. But he's got a tough game back. The first game back after 336 days without catching one, Howie, against a tough Jacksonville defense.
No question, and I think if there's a question regarding Odell, it's can he control his emotions? And that comes with maturity, and I think he's taken a big step, or it appears like he has, and that'll be tested today. This cornerback tandem of Boye and Ramsey are the best in football, and Ramsey is the best cornerback in football. This team is built like an NFC East team, and there's no coincidence to that. Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone is a Parcells disciple. They're big, they're physical, they're athletic, they look good getting off the bus, and they're really good once they get on the field. They're a dominant team, came within 3 minutes of going to the Super Bowl last year. It all comes down to Blake Bortles.
You know, another interesting game we got at the top of the hour. Minnesota came within seconds of going to the Super Bowl last year, although they kind of got blown out in Philadelphia, so
no,
not seconds. They came within a game of getting to the Super Bowl last year. Right now they take on San Francisco, who was the hottest team in the league at the end of the season with Jimmy Garoppolo.
You know, I thought a good job was done by Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, and John Lynch, the GM of the 49ers, when they brought in Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon, remember, he played for the Vikings. He was great as a runner,
great as a receiver, and with Garoppolo at quarterback, you bring in McKinnon. Now you got that threat, that West Coast offense. But he ends up tearing his knee up in practice. He's done for it. Then they bring in this guy from where they get Alfred Morris from Dallas. I believe he comes in from Dallas. So now the running game is shot. I don't know about the receivers. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't think so. And this whole football team, because of the loss of their running back, sets them back. I do not see the same results that you saw last year when they finished 5-0 the last 5 games. I don't see this football team doing that well this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Terry. I think the expectations, they're going to be disappointed. The ones that won't be disappointed is Minnesota. You look at Minnesota, now they had the number 1 defense in the league last year, and Howie, I think they're better this year. So defensively, they're set. Offensively, everybody's saying, well, Kirk Cousins, I don't know if he's going to be an upgrade or not. Keenum played pretty good. The real upgrade is going to be with their running back, Dalvin Cook. He played 4 games last year, had 444 yards. He is a star. He stays healthy. He'll be the upgrade. He could take them all the way.
All right, we just heard from Michael and Odell Beckham. The Stars keep rolling here on Fox as Cam Newton, Aaron Andrews, and Rob Riggle join us next. Plus, Tony Gonzalez will be here in the studio. But first, why don't we listen in on Jalen Ramsey at the stadium?
It's really going to be a show out there today. The whole team.
More catches, but potentially more fumbles.
Agreed.
I go back to last Thursday night. The Twitter feed was being buzzed when you talked about the catch of Julio Jones. Let's talk about this catch. Take us through the process and what you see.
I think Julio's play was one of those elements where you have ball movement, but he did maintain possession. From the shot we're looking at here, he pins it on his shoulder, and it stays there. It moves a little, but that's possession. I would have ruled that a catch.
That was a catch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the helmet rule. We talked about the helmet rule this year. It's going to be the fact you cannot initiate contact with the crown of the helmet. There can be helmet-to-helmet contact if you are bracing for the hit.
Right.
I think we saw a lot of calls being made the first 2 weeks of the preseason. It's been less and less since then, and maybe saw a reason for this and the culture possibly changing last Thursday night, this play right here to Julio Jones, this pass.
Agree, Coach, and we anticipate this. These are great athletes, and if you watch here, last year, someone would have lit Julio up, and you see 3 guys pull back right there and not make that type of contact. I think there definitely is a change happening.
What are you looking for when you see that, Gene, when you're talking about that call? How are you making that call in the field as an official?
In real time, it happens so quick, Coach, so you're kind of looking for a dip, something linear with his back in line with his head, the head's down. It's a trigger that happens right before the contact, so it's a field play from an official standpoint.
One last rule that's going to be a point of emphasis this year is protecting the quarterback. Talking about, again, making sure you can't put the body weight as you land on a quarterback. Last Thursday night, Grady Jarrett, you're going to see him rushing Nick Foles. He's going to come right here, and you can see, watch this right here. Is that a foul this year that was maybe not called a year ago?
That's a foul, Coach. And as a referee, you're kind of looking. I worked that play when I was on the field. You're looking for a defensive player to do something to show me that he's not putting his entire body weight on that.
So you're going to tell me now how he should be coaching, and I'm going to tell you how he should be officiating. They've been doing this for 30 years. You go back 30 years ago, look what they were doing to quarterbacks back then. Tell me, look at this, Gene.
I saw something coming. Back when Ben were quarterback.
Reggie White. You know what, Gene? They just don't make them like they used to. We got a lot of predicate. We're favoring the quarterbacks right now. But I think, again, when you look at it, we're going to look forward to having Gene Steratore with us all year. Be a part of this family. You'll be a great help to us as we try to all interpret the rules and how they're being applied.
Is that why Phil walks with a little bit of a twitch? Hey, Coach, meanwhile, a lot of new faces and new places as 15 teams are starting a different quarterback in week 1 this year. And our guys, Boomer, Phil, will clear it all up for you in this week's edition of the NFL Before Today.
Now, if you're wondering why your starting quarterback doesn't look familiar today, don't worry, folks. You're in good company. A record 15 teams have different QBs starting in week 1 compared to last year.
You're right, Boomer. Now, as a former first-round draft pick myself, and I know you're still upset that you got picked in round 2, I'm very excited to see the Jets' Sam Darnold make his NFL debut, and also the continued success of Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky, and Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I figured since you're an old man who's used to season and the injuries, you'd relate more to the return of Andrew Luck or Ryan Tannehill.
I think I relate best to my fellow Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles. And since you're a guy who knows what it's like to get passed around from team to team, I guess you prefer the 5 old faces in new places.
Now, what I refer is a contract extension, kind of like the one Jimmy Garoppolo got.
Is that it? It's always about money with you. Did we cover everyone?
No, it actually looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting in Tampa for the suspended Jameis Winston.
And the Bills, they open the season with their highly talented
Hold on, Phil. You got that all wrong. They're actually starting this guy.
That's 5 interceptions for Nathan Peterman.
You know, you're not tied to your past failures.
That's the right attitude, my man. Good luck. Go Buffalo.
And Nathan Peterman, the highs and lows of being a young QB in this league, went from 5 picks to earning a spot as the starting QB for the Buffalo Bills. Now, from the young pups to my big dogs here on the set, guys, what young quarterbacks jump out to you guys?
Well, a lot of them jump out. I'm going to just say this. I've never seen the NFL where you can look around the starting quarterbacks of almost every team and complain about what's there. It's loaded with good, solid quarterbacks. And if you watch college football this weekend, this coming year, every year, there's going to be a group of guys that come in the league that are going to be starters. So it's a golden era for football quarterbacks, that's for sure.
And you love Carson Wentz, I know, and he's basically the epitome of what you want from a young quarterback. Big, strong, athletic, and unquestioned leader, right? For me, it's Mahomes. I think that's exactly what he's going to be for Kansas City. Yeah. And don't forget, out of all the rookies that were picked this year in the first round, there were 5 of them. Sam Darnold gets his start on Monday night against Detroit. So we have the 2 video boards to our right and left here. That's 11 new faces right here, essentially getting ready to take over the NFL.
Yeah, I see a twinkle in your eye when talking about Pat Mahomes. I'm looking for the evolution of Jared Goff. Now another system under head coach Doogie Howser, Sean McVay, who's the boy genius out there. And what does he have? He has everything he needs. They've added cooks to that system. Todd Gurley's an absolute monster. We got a young QB. You have the running game. What do? You help them out with a great defense. Aaron Donald, Dominic Sue, Keith Talib, Marcus Peters. This could be another great year for the best scoring offense in all of football. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Rams can do this season, guys.
Yeah, there's one other guy. We got to talk about Baker Mayfield, the first pick of the NFL draft. And look, he had a solid preseason. He moved around. He threw the football with touch and power. They got to be happy with what Baker Mayfield did in the preseason.
Yeah, I can tell by that belly you love baked goods. So that's highly of Baker.
Football is back, and DraftKings is celebrating with a 1.
And, dude, you're forcing the defense to play.
You hear what people say, you know what's expected of you. You're confident, you're pumped. Everybody just wants to know, what does Cam Newton have to do to return to the 2015 MVP Cam Newton?
I just won football games.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. This is one of those things where you can't overthink things. But one thing that we have this year is harmony. And I think if we have harmony throughout this whole year, it's going to be a very fun, scary year.
Talking to Norv Turner, he was very complimentary of Cam Newton. He said he's really worked hard in this transition in the different offense. And the thing about it, he said he'll help him on his third down efficiency. That's where he needed help. Plus, he's going to let him run. Now, the player that's going to benefit from the new offense is going to be Christian McCaffrey. He'll probably have close to 30 touches, running the ball in the power play, screens, passes out of the backfield. He should be a star in this offense. And you look at this game, how it's going to be 2 defensive teams. They both run the football. It's going to be a low-scoring game with a lot of field goals.
Yeah, and I think probably the difference in this game might be Dallas's ability to run the football. Yeah. The Frederick injury or illness is a big setback for Dallas, but Looney's a pretty good player. Their second-round pick, Williams, will start at left guard. This Dallas defense has a chance to be really good up front if they can keep Gregory on the field. Lee and Smith are healthy right now, and they spent a first-round pick on their other backer. It's an interesting game. I think the Cowboys can be either overvalued or undervalued, and I think you could say the same thing for Dak. And I think it's not fair to Dak last year because the run game was non-existent with the suspensions, injuries in the offensive line. If the run game's good, I think Dak will be good.
2 other games we've got in that late window. Washington against Arizona And Michael, Seattle and Denver, two interesting teams that are in transition right now.
Yeah, big transition. I think Denver is in less of a transition than Seattle is because Seattle, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new O-line coach, and on top of that, the Legion of Boom is no more. I mean, Sherman's not there, Chancellor, Bennett, Averill, and also they lost Jimmy Graham in free agency. They still have Bobby Wagner. You have the feel-good story, Shaquem and Shaquille Griffin. They're starting these brothers who are twins, which is the most amazing story out there. But how did this young team respond to the challenge this season?